Ronnie Brewer was a lottery pick, played at Arkansas. Obviously, he was drafted by the Jazz, the first team he played with in the NBA, and now he's the director of recruiting and student-athlete development at Arkansas. And, Ronnie, I wonder, thanks for hopping on with us. Good morning.
Hey, Ronnie.
Good morning. Glad to have you, man.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're great. We're great. I wonder what you tell these guys as you – I know you talk to them. What are some of the things you guys talk about in this whole different world where you can make so much money in college, and the number of players is way down that stayed in the draft this year, presumably because many of them will make more if they go back to college. How do you have that discussion with them?
Well, it depends on the type of guys that you're recruiting. I had the pleasure to work with Coach Musselman, who's top tier, and I've had the blessing and the opportunity to work for one of the best in the business with Coach Cal. And we got to keep the main thing. And we're still preaching to our guys, come to Arkansas and what it's worth, and you can get an education, but we're also going to push you to develop to be the best young man that you can possibly be in the gym, weight room, the training room. Our morals are never going to change. Our guys are going to focus on what's the main thing. And when you do that, you're going to recruit a certain type of young man. But at the same time, the trajectory of how things are, it gets muddy a little bit with certain situations. But we're not going to change who we are as people. And I think that's why the standard is going to be what it is here at Arkansas. It's not going to ever. We're going to continue to push to put the best product that we possibly can on the court. And NIL is a thing that you have to adapt and play around. We're not going to go out there and recruit kids that their main focus is, hey, I'm trying to get the maximum money we can possibly get, because in all reality, we're telling guys that, hey, we want to help and bless you and your family. We want you to work hard, and if you're good enough at that particular time, try to go to the NBA. Everybody has goals and admirations to try to do that, and so that we're going to try to help our guys. But we're always going to keep the main thing, and that's focusing on the right now and being the best possible basketball player you can be, but also focusing on being the best basketball player you can be at Arkansas and what Arkansas has to offer, and also getting a top-tier education at the University of Arkansas.
How does Adou Thiero go from being a freshman that averages 2 points a game to being a possible first-round draft pick 2 or 3 years later? You talked about development. Tell us about his.
That's exactly what it is. And I'm not going to say, hey, man, he has potential just to go on potential, because he is a player that you draft in the first round because of potential. But also, he's the guy that you draft in the first round because of his player development. So where he started and where he came from, he was a 5'8", 5'10", point guard at one point in time in high school, and then he had a growth spurt. But if you look at his body, he's worked extremely hard, developed himself to be in pristine shape, but also he's worked on himself to be like, hey, I'm a kind of shut up the doubters of, hey, am I aggressive enough to get downhill, and can I play through the bump? Am I athletic enough to finish over people? Can I rebound outside my area? Can I block shots? Can I work on my floater? Can I work on my flip? Can I work on my 3-point game? These are all areas that we've identified of things that need to improve. And he improved coming out of high school when he was at Kentucky, but then we ramped it up and improved him a little bit more at the University of Arkansas. And I think he turned into a star, and it's the reason why people are talking about him and his potential. I told people for long that he's the next coming of Gerald Wallace. People don't really remember Gerald Wallace because he wasn't a superstar, but he was a player that was an all-star that helped this team win, that he was a Swiss Army knife and developed to be a phenomenal basketball player. That was our goal for him. Is that's what we were going to try to do. We wanted to make you be very, 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 very good in a lot of different things and check a lot of boxes. And if you do that, that's why NBA scouts are going to look at you and want you to be on their team.
You make some interesting points there because not everyone's going to be an NBA superstar. How do you stick? How do you stick for 7 or 8 years the way you did?
Well, that's one of the things, and I'm not trying to boast or brag or anything like that, but our staff is phenomenal. You got a lot of guys that have coached a lot of NBA guys, for the guys in the NBA. But you also have guys on our staff that has been there and done that, that knows what it takes to be successful at the NCAA level and knows what it takes to be at the NBA level. And so that's what we're pouring into our young guys every single day is, we know what it takes to get there and to stick. And, teams now, it's all about winning. What can you do to help the team win? There's not many guys in the NBA draft that is going to come in and be a superstar. There might be a few. I'm not knocking any of the guys, but there's a couple guys early in the draft that can be superstars. But for everybody else, you have to find your niche to be a glue guy and help a team win. They already have superstars. They already have guys that are making so much money that you might necessarily not come in there and be like, hey, I'm going to take more shots than this superstar guy that's on this team. But I can step in day one and help make this team win. Be a positive guy in the locker room, being a utility guy to do anything and everything that the team might need to help me win. If that means I need to be a defensive stopper or I need to be a rebounder or a passer, you have to find your niche. That's what we're teaching our guys. Find one thing that you do really, really well and stick to that and master that. And that's how you get multiple contracts year one, and first, second, third, fourth contracts and make a lot of money to change the trajectory of your families. And that's what Coach Cal's really trying to do is change the trajectory of a lot of our student athletes' lives and their families for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, certainly a track record of doing that. Ronnie Brewer's with us. Hey, how about Carter Knox? Like the development of his freshman year, and now I'm just seeing all of these highlights coming out of the draft workouts and the combine. And, I mean, the guy looks like he's hit another level since the season ended. I was kind of surprised he came back. I know Razorback fans are pumped about it. I'm sure you guys are. But we could just speak to how his game has improved.
His game has improved a lot. Carter's the LTE, he has a large following, and, young kids have watched his development at that place. They do a great job. And then he took that to, he signed with Kentucky, but then he, actually obviously followed Coach Cal to Arkansas, and had a great year. At first, it was a learning curve, just like any other thing, trying to find his way, find his niche. And I think he hit his stride towards the end of the year. And he started playing really, really well, played well in some big games, played well in the NCAA tournament. And he came with the mindset of, I want to build off of that. And we knew what he needed to add to his game. And it's kind of like a light bulb clicked. He dropped some weight, got stronger, and started actually doing the things that we were asking him to do consistently on a day-to-day level. And that's why he made a superior jump. That's why we're super, super duper excited for him to be back. And I think Razorback fans have a lot to look forward to and like a lot to be excited about because Carter Knox is playing some of the best basketball he could possibly be. And we have a lot of pieces on this team that's going to make us a strong team. But Carter Knox has developed and putting the work in that he needed to do to develop to try to reach his goals and aspirations. I think the NBA draft, where you can see where your status is and where you're at, I think that's a phenomenal situation for young players to be able to see what it takes to try to get there, then to come back to college and then take what the development and the criticism and the pros and cons they told you, and you were able to bring it back to us, and we were able to tell you, hey, this is the feedback we got, and be able to show you, hey, this is what you need to do to try to get to the next level. And he's doing exactly that. He's checking all the boxes. He's looking great, and I'm looking for a huge jump for Knox this upcoming season.
Hey, before we get you out of here, do you remember this night? Doesn't seem like that long ago for you.
I mean, I'm at the age now that it was a long time ago. But again, tonight, I know they changed it from a 2-day event tonight and tomorrow. Well, you were there with me the whole ride, and saw everything, the ups and downs, and people calling and last minute interviews and stuff like that. It's a stressful situation going through the NBA draft. You worked so hard for this day, getting invited to the green room. For me, it was everything I could dream of. Even though it was stressful because I went 14, but I was projected top 10 pick. People fell. That's the greatness about the NBA draft. It's not going to go according to plan. There might be 1 or 2 players in this draft that actually knows, hey, this is where I'm going. Everybody else, it's a coin flip. Again, there's a lot of great players in this draft. We played against we got to see up close and personal of a lot of guys that are going to be drafted in the first round. Adou Thiero is as good as any other player, deserves to be drafted. Yes, a lot of other guys that are willing and able and should be drafted. Nelly Davis had a phenomenal year for us. Started off slow, ended with a bang, and almost willed his way for us to beat Texas Tech, to go to the Elite Eight. Jonas Adou was hurt all throughout the season. Got healthy down the stretch, played really, really well. Those guys are deserving to get drafted. But it's a big night for all those guys and their peers. They put a lot of work. They've been playing basketball for their entire life. And for the night to hear their name get called, it's a moment that you can't ever simulate. For me, it was the best moment of my life, my family's life, and it changed the trajectory of my life. And to me, it was always good for me personally, and the tradition is going to continue to keep on going. When they say, either from Fayetteville, Arkansas, or from the University of Arkansas, man, that's such a blessing because that shows that whatever they're doing here and what we're doing, we're doing the right thing, and we're going to continue the right thing. And back then, when Coach Heath was with me, Coach Telefero, they did the right thing with me, and I got my name called, and it was a blessing that I can never explain.
Yeah, 10 years in the NBA, and now here you are back at Arkansas doing your thing. Well, thanks for hopping on with us, man. Appreciate the time and your perspective today.
Man, I really appreciate y'all, man. I'm looking forward to watching the draft, and I hope I can hear a couple guys from the University of Arkansas being called.
Absolutely. Ronnie, thanks
Thank you,
again,
Ronnie.
man. Appreciate it.
That was good.
Ronnie Brewer with us on the Chuck and Bo Show.